There we go. KSMO Radio. Time for us to sit down with some friends today. We're going to talk about a very unique event going to be coming in Denton County here, May 13th. And then we got some friends here. We're going to tell you a little bit more about that in some great detail. We got Roger and Dave with us. And good to have you guys along with us. And you feel free to speak up anytime you want.
It's great to be here.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate it.
We really enjoy finding out about different things. And we really like to talk about our history of Denton County. And a lot about that is centered around the current river. And we really all know that. Obviously, Montauk is a big part of that. But there's other events that come up that I think people need to know about, too. And I think this is a great way to show it on May 13th where people can actually get a full view of what's going on in our area. So welcome, guys, and really appreciate that. Dave, you might want to introduce yourself, tell people a little bit about your background, and let people know who you are.
Well, so I'm Dave Tobey, and my mother-in-law always just described me as nobody, and that's really a pretty accurate description. But I've just been hanging around Dent County and Shannon County since the 1950s. My last official job was with the Park Service. I was the Upper Current River District Supervisor for the Interpretive Division. And while I was there, we started doing some community celebrations, and we had those community celebrations at Two Rivers and Round Spring and Alley and Acres. Acres was we always felt like Acres was our big kickoff event. Because of Roger over here, because of the venue he's created up there near Cedar Grove, I mean, we've kind of moved that big kickoff up to the Cedar Grove community, and with the mayor, Ruth Maxwell of Cedar Grove, and Roger. I'm not sure what your official title is, Roger.
You know, I just hang around and share the smiles. That's my,
the Goodwill Ambassador.
Goodwill Ambassador. There you go. I'll take that title.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. That and guest host, right?
And guest host. That's
when
right.
need be.
He does a great job with that.
Thank you.
And we're talking about the Big Rock Candy Mountain, in case anybody doesn't know that.
That's correct.
But we really appreciate that. And you and your lovely wife have done a great job with that and turned that all around. And we really salute you for all the efforts you've gone there and help promote the area. And I know you're not originally from Denton County.
Nope. And actually, I hate to say this, but the Big Rock Candy Mountain actually is located in the northernmost corner of Shannon County.
Yeah.
We like to consider ourselves in the heart of the Tri-County area. Something that very few businesses can actually say. They are in the heart of the three counties that really constitute the majority of what you were talking about, this region, the history, the river, and everything that goes on in this area. So we're glad that we wound up in that location.
Absolutely.
Ironically enough.
Absolutely. It's very scenic, and if somebody has not been out there yet, we highly recommend that you make a little trip out there. Of course, we're going to talk a little about one of those trips that you can make and take in a number of different places that maybe you're not familiar with here that are in northern Shannon County as well as in Denton County. So, hey, you're all neighbors, right?
Absolutely.
We're all here working together to make it happen. Well, first off, May 13th, there's going to be a lot of different things going on, Dave, so I'm going to let you kick off. We don't want to start with a driving tour. I think we need to start on, what do you think, the Foundation's Upper Current River Celebration? That's going to be a day-long event, right?
It is. The Upper Current River Celebration starts around 10 o'clock. You can come early, and really we encourage people to stay there and camp there for the entire weekend. But the Upper Current River Celebration, and it includes a book festival, storytelling, crafts and cultural demonstrations, music, paddling and outdoor skills, and then starting at 5 o'clock we're going to have some music out there. 5 o'clock the Shortleaf Band will play poolside. Roger's got a nice little pool out there, so we'll have a little concert there. The big concert starts at 7 o'clock with the Baker family, and most people are familiar with the award-winning Baker Family Bluegrass Band from Shannon County.
They played a number of times at Echo Bluff.
They do. They play all over the area.
If you're familiar with that.
And that evening activity, we kind of call that, Ruth, the mayor of Cedar Grove, calls that the second annual Rendezvous at the Ridge. And so the ridge we're talking about is right there at Big Rock Candy Mountain.
Right atop the mountain.
All right. And Big Rock Candy Mountain, Route B, right? Is that on?
That's on Highway B, yeah.
Okay.
You can either come in out through the Raymondville Way if you're coming from Houston.
Right.
And obviously if you're coming from Salem or Eminence, coming up 19, you'll come down ZZ, cross the river at Cedar Grove. Go ahead, come on up across the river and take a right on Highway B. It's an asphalt highway that takes you 1 mile up the hill
And
right
climb the hill.
Climb that hill, yeah.
That's
And I recommend for you bike riders out there, bring your bikes. It's there's not a ton of traffic, and it is a great climb.
Yeah, it is. It's a big hill. I will tell you that.
Yeah.
I remember the very first time I thought, geez, long hill up here.
And speckled with dogwoods right now for
I
a very
betcha.
short period of time,
I'll
and those
betcha.
green leaves are about
Beautiful.
to
Yes.
engulf them. Yeah.
I floated
Yeah.
from Tanvat to Cedar Grove last Wednesday, and that was a big part of it, getting to see those dogwood trees and then all the other critters that are out there on the river. But beautiful float.
Well, and that's one of the things people don't understand. You see a lot of people float in the summertime, but winter floats,
They're missing
autumn
out.
floats, and
Yeah.
spring floats are really the best time.
And
on
if
the
you
Current River.
if you want to do the upper sections of the Current River or the Jacks Fork, now's the time to
Sure.
do it. So we're going to be paddling this Saturday from Prongs to Highway 17 Bridge. So taking advantage of those elevated water conditions on the upper sections of the Current River and the Jacks Fork.
Okay, so we're going to be, a lot of this is going to be happening around the Big Rock Candy Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And is there adequate parking, Roger? You want to tell people where they can park for this event? Because
Yeah, there will be parking, of course, at the Big Chill Bar and Grill. We have that parking lot that goes out front.
Right.
But also for people with, say they don't want to walk the distance to the backstage, we do have a drive around where people that don't want to walk the distance, they'll be able to drop them off next to the stage, and we have parking out back.
Very good.
If there is overflow parking, which we sure hope, we would love to sell this place out, which literally is only 250 tickets.
Right.
So there's only the availability of 250 tickets for this event. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, which they have been selling quick, of course, I'm trying to sell them every time someone's in there eating a hamburger or a nacho
Sure.
oh, by the way, we now have steaks. Just want to throw that out there. But it's every time we get the opportunity to sell these tickets, we've been lucky and they've been going. So I would suggest get the tickets as soon as you can.
And a lot of that is just people need to know that the event is here. Because a lot of times they don't know about the event, and then they come and maybe have a snack or something, and maybe they're just there for another event, and all of a sudden say, hey, you know about the Rendezvous at the Ridge? And you'll think, they're like, what Rendezvous at the Ridge?
Yeah, we'll even have some local food vendors, not just the Big Chill Bar and Grill, but we have Sisu's Custard and Hillbilly Boys Barbecue.
Okay.
So we'll have some our Hillbilly Brothers Barbecue.
Okay, so you talked about tickets. The tickets are for the Baker Family Concert, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and the tickets are how much?
$15.
$15.
And everything else during the day is free.
Free.
Okay, everything else is
Yep,
free, but
yep.
for that, now, I believe if they have children 12 and under, they can get them in free to the concert.
Correct.
Okay, so
Yeah, all children
so
12
if you have
and
a
under
if you have a youngin, they can come in, watch, and enjoy for nothing. But it's $15, and you can get those at Big Rock Candy Mountain if you're having to be by. And I highly recommend grabbing a bite to eat over there at the grill because it is outstanding food. And while you're there, you can buy that ticket, or you can go on Eventbrite as well. Correct?
Correct.
All right, so very good. So let's talk a little bit about the day itself, Dave, and maybe come on out. What are we going to start things out with?
Well, and you mentioned the driving tour.
Yeah,
it's
I did.
actually a bigger event than right there. We're calling it the Upper Current River Ozark Heritage Festival, and that same day, Montauk is having Old Mill Days,
Right.
starting at 9 o'clock until 4. And we're encouraging people to do a little driving tour. They can go to Montauk and they can go to Bose Hollow, actually step back in time there at Bose Hollow. And the Jadwin Outpost has just come under new ownership, and it's a great place to stop by and catch up on things in the area, and then make your way on out there to Cedar Grove and let us share some of the things that are going on out there. The whole thing, the community celebrations. originally the purpose was to give people from the area, the families from the area, an opportunity to tell their story.
Sure.
And just like before the show, we started talking about people that were passing. We just lost Bob Howell up in the Cedar Grove community. But we're talking about other families like the Steelmans, the Maggards, the Purcells, the Blackwells, the Weiss, the Atchison, going downriver, the Stewarts, the Lewis family, the Welch family, the Banks family, the Smith family, the Hamilton family, the Akers family, the Pyatt family. Those are all historic families. And I'm leaving out a bunch.
Oh, yeah, you are.
But, yeah, we'll get in trouble for that, won't we?
You start with one, you better know them all.
Yeah, but those, those, we're losing some valuable people, from previous generations, people that, were early settlers and can tell that story, and we want to give them, that was the whole purpose for the celebration of the river communities, was to give those people an opportunity to tell their story. Who knows, when you tell the story, it might be the last time. We had an event at Round Spring on August 6th last summer, and Jimmy Orchard, priceless teacher, educator, coach, musician from this area. That may have been his last performance, but it was just magical to watch him shuffle up and play the fiddle, play his heart out for the community. And then just recently he passed and left us. So you never know when you hear from these families. It might be the last time that you're talking to that individual. So those are priceless opportunities.
So many people go to Silver Dollar City and they see a bunch of actors doing a bunch of things that they've been taught how to do, while this very same tour will have the actual families who do this all the time.
These are
and have been taught by their family members how to do it.
You bet.
And it's a whole different experience, because you could, it's pretty interesting to see somebody make something at Silver Dollar City, but you're walking on concrete and you're doing this. It's all controlled. Hey, this is the Ozarks. You can come on down. First off, talk to them. I guarantee you, if you're from the Ozarks, you're probably related to somebody at this festival.
We are. We're all related.
Hey, sooner or later, right?
But like even the Baker family,
sure,
who's going to play their heart out for us that evening. I mean, they're Current River people, and all those families that I mentioned, those are Current River people, and they're just priceless. Yeah.
It's an opportunity for people to really get a taste of what the Ozarks is all about. And I truly mean that, a taste, not only food-wise, but also craft-wise. We have the Eminence Craft Fair that comes in every year, and it's it draws thousands of people down there. But, you're going to be able to do some of the very similar things right here on this tour over at Big Rock Candy Mountain. You've got quite a few different people that are going to be there. The Ozark Artisans and Crafter demonstrations, that's worth the price of admission just by itself, and the price of admission is free.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
You can't beat
free.
And then you've got that. You also have the Ozark Regional Book Festival, and you've got some great speakers there. With Kayla McConnell, I've heard her speak before, and Alan Banks as well. Those two I know personally I've heard them, and they are incredible speakers.
Well, I'm very proud of one you mentioned. Alan Banks is my brother, and he wrote Indians of the Upper Current. So I'm explaining that I would do off the air. We don't have the same mother, we don't have the same father, but we're brothers. That's the way we roll in Shannon County. So anyway, he wrote Indians of the Upper Current and Postcards of Shannon County. Shannon County A to Z, but the other people, Loring Bullard wrote Living Waters, Springs of Missouri. He's going to be there to give a presentation. You mentioned Caitlin McConnell, very involved with what we call Ozarks Alive, and she is author of Passport to the Ozarks. And she's busy, 24/7, telling stories of places and faces of the Ozarks. The other lady is Marcia Thawald. She's author of Hidden Blessings of the Ozarks. So they're all going to be giving presentations out there as well.
It's going to be fantastic.
Thanks for mentioning them.
And I'm sure they're going to have their books there.
They are. Yes, they are.
Sure,
yes.
And
the other one that I didn't mention, and he's actually was committed to to Montauk that morning, but hopefully he'll stop by, is Rick Mansfield.
Of course.
Who, Rick, I mean, is doing more to keep the history of this area alive than anybody, I think. And we'll have, I mean, I tease him. I think he writes a book a day. But we'll have some of his books.
Well, we have his books currently at the Big Chill Bar and Grill in our camp store. We try to collect books from local artists. We collect work from local artisans, and we have it there year-round. You can get it from us year-round, but you can get it from all of the local artisans May 13th. All weekend or all day long Saturday.
And you bring up Rick Mansfield. I've known Rick for a long time.
I'm sorry.
I
love the guy.
Actually,
I love the guy.
I just never know what character he's going to be.
Oh, exactly.
Because you don't. He'll go into an old governor.
Hadley.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
All of a sudden he'll come back and he's Rick.
Yeah, who are you today, Rick?
Yeah. But, I've always tipped my cap to, and he has kept the Current River clean. And I mean, he really works on those stream teams.
Yep.
And he does a tremendous job. And I tip my cap to him. And he's relentless.
Yes, he
in
is.
his efforts
That's a
to
good
get it
word.
done.
Relentless.
Yeah, he really is.
In everything that he does.
I think we need to tip our cap to him. There's so many people like that out there that, we just assume this gets done. That's not just an assumption. That river doesn't stay clean because we assume it's going to stay clean. It's just going to float all down river. Oh, it goes down to Eminence, and that's going to go down farther. And it's going to, no, you got a great collection of people that work stream teams here in our area that are unsung heroes.
There's a tremendous amount of stewards, I would say, of that river that are taking care of that river daily that we don't even realize.
No, you're right, and they love that river. It's not something they do because they have to do it. They love it.
And that's really the common denominator in all the groups, no matter what you're talking about, and whether it be park people or local people. It's a love for the resource and a desire to preserve, and we're preserving the natural history, but the cultural history and these people that we've been talking about just as important.
So
And
at Big
it
Rock
brings
Candy
people
Mountain,
together.
I'm sorry, Roger. And Big Rock Candy Mountain, where are the vendors going to set up, or where are these people going to be located? If somebody drives in to the grill, that's usually the biggest, easiest place to find.
Yep.
Where would they be related to the grill?
Directly across the parking lot, right in front of you. You'll come in and you'll see tents and you'll see trailers, and then we'll just work those vendors right down the main walkway towards the main stage.
Okay, all right, very good. So it'll be easy access to get to them.
Easy access to get to. And like I said, if you do need to get closer to the stage, we will have people directing you around to pull right up next.
Are you going to offer tours of Big Rock Candy?
We would love.
I know it's going to be a busy day.
It is a busy day, and you can do a free walking tour. But if you were to ever want to tour some of the cabins that we have, restaurant, grill, you can come out there anytime prior to the event, because we have rented a lot of those cabins for that weekend, and those cabins will be occupied.
I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. One of the things I saw in here that we haven't even talked about, and I think it'd be one of the most fun things to do, is to get there and have the storytelling of the community members. That is one of the neatest things, because that's when the history and the families who live on those rivers, you start hearing stories that you don't even know exist. And they are so cool.
The one I remember was he danced. She was talking about her father, and they would dance by the river, and they'd hang lanterns in the trees. And she said her father would dance, and it was like he never touched the floor. So when I heard that story of Cedar Grove people dancing by the river with lanterns hanging in the trees, and his feet never touched the floor, I knew we were in the right place at the Big Rock Candy Mountain, because it shares that same magic, that same river mystique. We may not be but a mile from the river, but we still share that same community feeling that's still coming alive out there in the hills.
You're right there. You're right there, and you're going to have a good time with it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this drive. We talked a little bit about Bose Hollow, and a lot of people, and I, to this day, do not know where Bose Hollow is. And I found it by accident. I mean, years ago, drove by and I went, what the heck? And had to back up, and I drove right by it, and I thought,
Well, you can't
Well,
miss
was that
it.
from the 1920s?
Yeah, you can't
Yeah,
miss it. You just make a right at Ashley Creek. I mean, you know.
But you got to go to Ashley Creek to make the right. But it is a unique place to go, and you know, a lot of times they're not open, but they are going to be open for this wonderful drive, and they're going to be open from here 10 to 5. Now, if you want to go see something unique, Bose Hollow, you're going to step back in time.
Yeah, it's
From
definitely
gas
Model A,
pumps.
1930s,
Yeah.
1920s.
Yeah.
It's even goes back. There's some stuff from the 1800s out there.
I'll imagine. So.
I think they're celebrating their 20th. Is that 20th or 25th
I think it's
year?
25th
year
I
in
think so.
business that same weekend. So come out and check it out if you've never been to Bose Hollow. Meet Lynn, and she's just a sweetheart. Her and her husband Bracy started this, 25 years ago, just as his dream, and as these, iconic people in our community pass away. Bracy, bless his soul, he just passed away within the last probably 6 months. So we do need to keep this community connected and keep this community talking and keep this community growing and bring this place back to life.
Right.
To
I know
life.
I was out there when it was just being built, and it was really unique. And I had to take a second look back, but nobody was there that day when I tried to get out just to find out what it was all about. I thought, are they just doing this for their own personal welfare? Or
again,
why
they're
wasn't there,
Thursday
but-
through Sunday.
Yeah,
They're very
but-
similar weekend
Right,
hours.
but this was 20 something years ago when I drove by there, and it's a lot different now. It's even more cool now than it was then. So definitely don't want to miss out on that. As you were mentioning, though, the Outpost, which has just been taken over by new owners. They serve some great food, so you can stop by there and grab yourself a sandwich. You can do a lot of yakety chat, because there's a lot of yakety chat that goes on at the Outpost.
Kind of the community center of Jadwin.
It kind of has become the coffee stop.
Yeah,
Yep,
you
it
bet,
sure
you bet.
has.
Right across from Jadwin Canoe Rental with Daryl Blackwell. He's always stopping in there. Another local legend. I mean, 77 years old. Been
50 years.
Yeah, 50
doing
years in
what he's
business.
doing,
So
you bet.
yeah.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah,
A lot of good stuff, and it would be great for people to come out and find out about it.
Right,
If you're
and-
curious about what's going on, come out and just meet some of the people,
Right,
talk
yeah.
some of the history.
And the neat thing is, this is all relatively close. Montauk's going to have their days. You can take the back way out of Montauk, and you can go right to Bose Hollow.
You will see places and things in that region you've never seen if you take this driving tour.
And
That
just-
is true.
Just
know,
a 24-mile
24
little
miles.
circle.
Yeah,
that you
around
can
here,
make
that's
on
nothing.
That day.
you're
You bet.
right.
And I think that was Roger's brainchild.
I
wasn't it?
don't. I wouldn't go that far.
you're not gonna
no,
take credit
no,
for
not
that.
at all. None of this stuff.
I wish more people would actually take the back roads and drive the county roads to see some of the great sites that there are, some of the beautiful old structures that are still
the Giraffe
there,
Stone.
and then of course some of the cliffs. There's just the sheer cliffs that come right down to the edge of the road. You're thinking, where did that come from? There's just so many neat things in the Ozarks that I just don't think people appreciate enough,
concept,
and they don't take the time to go look at it and then stop and actually enjoy it, because these are the simple things in life that don't cost you a penny, and you can come back to them over and over and over again and get that sense of, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, every year, the dogwood blooming thing. Just really, I tried to promote that a lot this year when it came around, and people responded. They were just like, thank you for telling us the dogwoods were blooming, because people try to time it and sometimes they miss it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Every day, every season, it just is something beautiful out there. And that river is mystical and magical in itself.
You're right. Now, I read on here about collecting stamps at all 4 locations. Roger, can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so there will be a little card you take with us. You pick it up at any one of those locations.
Okay.
You go to all 4 of them, get it stamped, and you will receive a discount or a coupon or a sticker or something from each one of those vendors. So
Fantastic.
we want to really try to promote the interaction. Take a day. This is an entire day. Everybody says there's nothing to do.
Wrong.
Challenge accepted. The ORF has made a fantastic day, an entire day, combined with Montauk and Bose Hollow, and the outpost to make it an entire day's worth of events.
And it doesn't have to end with just that one day.
Oh, no.
I mean, come on Friday and stay at Big Rock and or Montauk and enjoy everything that's going on. And if the weather's good, I plan to put a boat in at Cedar Grove on Sunday, and I'd like to have some company. So let's do some floating too.
I might just see if I can get
Well,
some substitute that day and wind up on the river.
I'd like to see you on the river.
I'd love
Roger.
to get on that river. I get in the river, but I don't get on the river enough.
And as we're talking about these locations, this isn't just a one-day deal. They're there all the time. And you're more than welcome to go and check them out. And if you're interested in Big Rock Candy Mountain, you can give Roger a call, or you can go online and check out their fine website, and you can find out more information about cabins. You can find out about availabilities, or if you just want to stop by, grab a burger or a steak now.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
Thursday through Sunday.
You can do that as well. And of course, too, we talk about Bo's Hollow Thursday through Sunday. Is it Thursday through Sunday?
I believe it is. Yeah.
Okay. And I wasn't sure about that because I know sometimes those days have changed.
And it might not be Sunday now that you mention that. They might just be Thursday through Saturday.
Yeah.
I'll verify.
And then Montauk Old Mill Days. Now, they do have special events at Montauk, but the Old Mill's there all the time. This is just a special celebration that's going to be on May 13th. But they'll have more celebrations throughout the summer. They always have, matter of fact, this Thursday, they have a senior trout fishing tournament going on Thursday morning for seniors 60 and above, So,
hey, I qualify.
And then there you go. And if you want a tree, you go down to Montauk and pick up a free tree seedling on Friday for Arbor Day. So,
Sweet.
other stuff, not really on this list, but this is what we're talking about. There's
Everything
always
going on.
something happening in our area, and we want people to really take advantage of it. All right, let's go back to those tickets again. The tickets, they're limited, 250 tickets total.
250 tickets total, and they have been starting to sell.
And that's for the concert.
That's for the show. Yeah, the all-day event, we'd love to have thousands out there. But,
And the concert starts at 7
p.m.
Okay.
But if
and that will be on the main stage.
That'll be on the main stage. But at 5:30, we'll have the Shortleaf Band out there for Ozark Riverways Foundation Mixer, learn a little bit about the foundation. And it's the foundation that's really creating this event. And it's to support the communities along the river. So, it's up here, but it's about the entire river. And this foundation it represents the entire river. It just has a very strong anchor in the upper current.
Very good. Starts at 10?
Yes,
Officially?
yeah. And you can come early.
Sure.
I mean, we'll be there early.
I'm sure
talking
you
about
will.
paddling or whatever at 9:00. But all the other vendors will be set up at 10:00, and we'll just roll from there.
Sounds like a fun day.
Come out.
And we just want everybody to come and be a part of it. And there is so many activities that you can be a part of. And I really hope people take the time to come out to Big Rock Candy and talk to these artisans and crafters and listen to these writers and they're storytellers. I mean, writers are storytellers. They just put it into words that people read, but they really have some neat stories to tell. And and then ask Roger about Big Rock Candy Mountain, how the transformation happened there. Talk to you about your days down in the Park Service if you want to do that stuff. I mean, might not be something you really want to talk about.
We really considered this, when we started doing the Acres event, we always did it in the spring. And it really took a special significance in 2017 when we had the big flood. The publicity all over the place was, the river's closed and all that. And we wanted to especially kind of incorporate it as a kickoff event for the entire paddling season, the whole summer season. So it's kind of taken on that as well. We consider it to be, the Ozark Riverways Foundation considers it to be our kickoff event for the summer season. And, I've got a list of all the park activities in the Ozark National Scenic Riverways, and then other events with Echo Bluff or whatever. But come down and let us help you plan, your vacation this summer.
Sure.
So it's a kickoff event for the paddling and the summer season.
A lot of people think floating season is Memorial Day, Labor Day, and that's why I said they're missing out.
They are.
Because the best times to float are when the river's not just actually canoe to canoe to canoe to canoe. That's not the time to float. The time to float is when you can actually sit there and listen to the birds, You know, you're going down you hear the water coming over the rocks. You hear it hit the banks.
Yeah.
You know, that's to me when you start. You talk about the sound of the area. Now you can get it, and then no cars. You don't hear any horns. You don't hear traffic. It's just nice and peaceful.
I think May and October are probably the pick months. I mean, everybody comes down Memorial Day through Labor Day, but you know, the shoulder seasons, and we're seeing, you know, more people, you know, coming down and taking advantage of those. We have a group of very serious paddlers from the northern states, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, the Chicago area that come down. And they'll spend a week or two at Pull Tight, the Pull Tight Paddling Rendezvous, and those type of activities. But they're kind of, you know, off the radar a little bit, and they probably want to keep it that way.
Well, yeah, I think you're right. You know, we've seen a lot of different people, especially in the number of years I've been here. You know, we used to see Highway 19 just jam-packed every Friday night and Saturday night with people coming in, heading down to the river, getting ready to go down and do their floating and camping, both, you know, doing both. And, of course, the campsites all around here, hard to get a site. You've got to plan out over almost a year ahead of time. A real good friend of mine, she loves to go to Montauk. She worked with the Cardinals up in St. Louis for years and years and years. Her and her husband come down to this area 5 times a year. They can't get enough. You know, and they bring people with them. And that's the key, because these other people don't know anything about what can happen in this area, what they can do. Yeah. You know, you're going to go down there and float. And the last thing that Bill and Ann say is, we're not floating. No, we're just going to walk. We're going to show you trails. We're going to take you places down there that you don't even know exist.
There is so much more to that river than what we have known. Really, there's so much more. And it's good to be a part of opening up that door. It's going to be a Pandora's box. When people find out truly what we're talking about here.
We actually have world-class trails, hiking trails, and in the area. The Ozark Trail runs right through Current River Country, some of the best sections of the Ozark Trail, and we do a lot of work with them. We have a fall hiking series. But, you know, the month of May is a good time to hike, too.
You bet.
So that Cave Spring Trail, you cannot beat that, going from Devil's Well down to Cave Spring. That's an awesome, awesome trail. But then the Ozark Trail running right through here, the upper Current River section and the Current River section of the Ozark Trail, a lot of people will say that's the prettiest sections of the Ozark Trail. Which now the Ozark Trail is a 400-mile trail.
Yeah, it's huge.
Very well-kept secret, and they are building connecting trail to the Ozark Highland Trail down in Arkansas, and so we'll have 700 miles of trail.
Wow!
So that's phenomenal.
If we could just figure out how to get them across that river and go right through that Big Rock Candy Mountain.
We're going to get there.
I got a dream.
We're coming upriver. We're going to get there.
and you know, and really, the whole thing is while you're on these excursions, and I'm going to say a 24-mile excursion, you're going to see a lot of different things. But also, remember, there's other events going on. So maybe on May 13th, you limit yourself to this one event. It's still going to take you all day. Yeah. And don't be in a big hurry to just go, hey, there's Bo's Hollow. I'll drive by. Pull in. Talk to them. Walk it. See it. There's a lot of work, a lot of love put into that place over the years. And same thing at Big Rock Candy Mountain. Yeah, I mean, there's probably never a day you're not fixing something or repairing something or looking at improving something. There's always a suggestion.
Cleaning and fixing.
And there's always a suggestion, you know, that if you see something that maybe Roger hasn't thought of or maybe their staff hasn't thought of, you know, just say, hey, you know what, this would really be kind of cool if you had this. It may get the mind moving in that direction, but it may not. It's not going to happen today or tomorrow, but it might be something, you know what, that's really not a bad idea, you know, because when you're in it every day, you can't see outside the box that far sometimes. You just can't because you're operating it every single day. So it's always good to be listening to what people see because they'll see something that you don't see, and you're there every single day. And they'll say, did you know that there's a tree over there that's upside down? And you may not even notice it because it just happens that way. So that's what we really want you to do. Get an opportunity to enjoy the Ozarks. Go by the river, float the river, but right now on this day, take a time to go to all these wonderful locations and talk to these crafters. Talk to these people that live by the river. I think that community talk at 10 o'clock will be the most fun, to get out there with a hot cup of coffee and just listen to some of the stories. You know, the Dillards wrote a song called "The Biggest Whatever." You remember that song?
Sing a little bit of it for me.
Well, it's talking about the Hooten Piles,
Oh,
and
yes.
it's talking about Bigfoot.
Okay.
And Mitch wrote that song using all the local people who were here at the time. And this was actually, he had talked to them and gotten his report, and has an old man on a porch saying, "Yeah, it's the biggest thing I ever seen. I don't know what that thing was." You know, and then they go into a song. Well, I played it for our guys here. They fell in love with that song. I said, "They really wrote a song about Bigfoot?" I said, "Absolutely." Now, this is something that most people don't know, but those are the kind of people that that color, that's what comes out. Because you're in the Ozarks, and they're just thinking, "Oh, you're just making that stuff up." All kinds of stuff. There weren't mountain lions here in the Ozarks for 35 years, according to the Department of Conservation. Now, all of a sudden, they finally said there is. Yeah, I saw 4 of them, but they said they weren't here. So officially, they weren't here. So this is all the kind of stuff that we'd love to have people tell stories about, because it's local, and it's heartfelt, and it's real. These people lived it. It's not something they're making up just to make up. It's part of their life. It's part of their family.
And they have the history that has been, that they have lived, that they can share. But at the same time, we're making history ourselves. We are now the Franklins will have a story to share about the change of the Big Rock Candy Mountain and the history of the Big Rock Candy Mountain. Regardless of what you know or don't know, it has history. It has a story. It has a tale. It has lore.
Right.
And we're just doing the same thing, writing that. Dave and Ruth, their names will, down the road, as with you, Stan, we're all contributing to the future tales that will be told of this region. And we just have to keep them going. We have to keep them alive.
Keep those stories going, because that really makes for a lot of fun. And listen to what these people have to say. Don't just it's a bunch of BS and stuff. It's not. It's not. These
and
are
even
people,
if it is, it's just for color.
Well, but they may enhance it a little bit. But but the idea is that when you have an opportunity to hear these people, I remember, anybody ever had a chance to hear Mitch Jane? If you listen to the man was a scholar. He truly was, and a very intelligent scholar. He was so smart, and yet he could just twist things around, and you would sit there and go, "Where the heck, Mitch, did you come up with that?" He said, "Well, think about it." He goes, "I came down here from North Missouri. I didn't know a thing. I was a one-room schoolhouse teacher." He goes, "They put me out in the middle of nowhere." And he says, "And here I am teaching kids in 1st through 8th grade." Mm-hmm. And they were coming in, walking, from miles away just to get to school, and nothing would deter them from getting there. And he goes, "I didn't know anything about this idea or this area of the Ozarks." And he goes, "And I fell in love with it."
Yeah, and unfortunately, we lost Mitch, Eminence resident.
Yeah.
He lived right up the hill from Tim's Best Way there, the grocery store. But we still have his wife, Diana, and Diana comes out and plays music for us a lot of times. And I need to mention the Shannon County Museum.
Right.
So many of those people that I mentioned are connected to the Shannon County Museum, and they're going to have a display out there, and they're going to be telling stories and have artifacts from the area. I'll talk to Diana, Jane, and see if she's going to plan to come out there that day, but just to have her sit around and jam a little bit. She's a tremendous artist in herself.
She can tell some stories.
And she can tell all those stories. Yeah,
I'm telling you what.
About Mitch.
Oh,
usually.
yeah.
Because he was a character.
He was.
Yeah.
He was a lot of fun. He used to, when he and Smitty were still married, we used to go. He used to do commercials with me for Night Auto Care. Mm-hmm. And we drove to Columbia to do the commercials. We'd do like 20 of them at a time. And he'd cook lunch, and he'd be sitting there, and he goes, "Well, what do you want to talk about today?" I said, "What's your fancy, Mitch?" He goes, "Well, I broke down one time when I had this record driver come out." And he said, he goes, "How did you go off the road, Mitch?" He said, "There was a turtle."
Good
And
for
he,
him.
yeah, and he goes, I want a button to hit that turtle. He goes, so you went and spent $600 damage to your car, but we're going to hit the turtle. He said, priorities, typical Mitch James stuff. But I mean, it's funny stuff because we would tell these stories. It wasn't a commercial. It was a story. Every one of the things we talked about was 3 to 5 minutes long, just to have a little fun in the morning and start out somebody's day. And that's what it was all about, And it was just, I got to be the straight guy and he got to be Mitch. How else could you do that, right? You had to do it. This is going to be a unique event, May 13th. It's pretty much an all-day event. Plan to spend the day and then plan to spend the evening at Big Rock Candy Mountain with the Baker family. That'll be an outstanding concert. Again, this family is very good. They've played, I know, at least 2 times at Echo Bluff. I know that, and I didn't get a chance to go see them. I was busy those days, but they are very good and got nothing but great reviews. But spend the day in the Ozarks. Enjoy the entire day. Take your time. Spend it out at Big Rock Candy Mountain. You can spend it all one place if you want, but I highly recommend you take a little sample of everything.
And don't forget to take off your shoes and get those feet wet in that river.
There you go.
If you're that close. Stop.
Going down.
Take off them shoes and get your feet wet.
You bet. Going down to Cedar Grove, and if you're out in Montauk, go check out all the different things at Montauk as well. They've got a day full of events down there, too, till 4 o'clock. But again, the tickets, $15 for the Baker family, 7 o'clock, Big Rock Candy Mountain on the main stage. And there will be food available there.
There will be food vendors
pretty much
there,
all
yes.
day long?
Pretty much all day long,
Okay,
yep.
very good. So you won't get hungry, won't get thirsty. There'll be plenty of beverages out that way. So we highly recommend everybody take advantage of this. Roger, what's your phone number out there in case somebody would have any questions about Big Rock Candy or how to get there?
How to get there, 417-932-1223. And there still is lodging available, campsites. We do have primitive campsites, RV, 30 amp, 50 amps, and we do have some cabins, but I think there's maybe only 1 or 2 cabins remaining.
Okay, very good. But just don't think about Big Rock Candy this weekend. You're there all the time.
Oh, man, are we all the time. We'd love to get you out there, especially to focus on the Sunday through Thursday. We talked about the river and the sounds, and the Sunday through Thursday floating is really what we're trying to promote ourselves, because we want people to experience what we, as locals, are lucky to experience, and that's without the traffic on the weekends.
Right.
We have that slow bird water flowing sound that you talked about, and it really is something. But the Sunday through Thursday, we'd love to start filling that campground with some people that want to come out and experience the river. We've got guides that are just teeming and waiting. We can tie up with the foundation because they actually can give you a tour of the river to tell you about the flora, the fauna, the history. Bring people out to find out a little bit more.
Right. Welch's Cave, all that down there.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, your feet are in the water when you get down there below Welch's Cave. You might be in for a
Spring,
surprise.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a little cooler down
A
there.
little Hoff therapy, they say, cold water therapy.
Oh, yeah. That's a major shock to your system if you weren't ready for that one. But it's a unique place. It's such a unique place that you definitely want to enjoy as often as you can. And I guarantee you, every time you go, it'll be different. Every time you go, it will be different. You'll notice something else. And that's the neat thing. I know, Dave, you've probably seen it. Every time you've gone, you've seen something that you either hadn't seen before or, you know what? I didn't remember that the last time I was here.
Yeah, even the river itself is constantly changing.
Always changing.
It's incredible.
I want to thank you guys for coming by.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if anybody has any questions, Dave, do you have a number for more information on the
Call Roger.
on the foundation?
Call Roger.
417-932-1223.
But we have a Facebook page.
Okay.
Ozark Riverways Foundation has a Facebook page. They have a website as well, so you can get a lot of information there. Keep checking that Facebook page because we update that on a almost hourly basis.
Great.
So that's the best way to contact us. We also have an email listed on our website, we stay in constant contact with Roger. So
Very good.
give him a call.
Very
We're up
good.
there just waiting for the phone calls.
May 13th. Circle it. And these flyers, you guys have put out some flyers. I've seen some literature out and about.
Well, I think it's
Yeah.
a route through the community, but we also have them on the tables and are handing them out up at the Big Chill Bar and Grill.
And
Okay,
they are all
very good.
posted on the Facebook page.
All right, very good. So you have an opportunity. You can go, you can download that image, and you can print it out on your own computer, and that way you can see it and follow the map. There's a map on the one, and the other one has a whole list of all the different events that are going to be going on. So
And those maps and those coupon cards will be at each one of the locations.
Very
so
good.
If you start at Montauk, pick up your stuff there. If you start at Bose Hollow, pick up your stuff there. If you start at Jadwin Outpost, pick up your stuff there and make the tour.
or that other place, which is
Oh, you mean the Big Rock Candy Mountain?
I heard of that place.
I have heard that.
Highway B, Northern Shannon County.
The heart of the Tri-County area.
The Tri-County area. Man, he's got a lot of slogans, doesn't he?
There's another one. I just heard somebody, a very significant person, describe Cedar Grove as the gateway to the Ozark Riverways. I like that one awful well.
The gateway to the Ozarks.
See what you've done, Roger? You and Ruth Maxwell.
Not at
There
all.
you
Oh,
go.
no, I'm just a goodwill ambassador.
Dave, Roger, thanks again
Thanks,
for coming.
Dan.
We really
Thank you,
appreciate you
Appreciate
guys.
it. Thank you.
Here at KSMO, stick around AP News.